March 18, 1990, 2:45 a.m. Two men disappear into the dark streets of Boston with 13 works of priceless art, paintings by Rembrandt, Vermeer, Manet, Degas, $500 million in total value, gone, without a trace. More than 30 years later, not a single piece has been recovered. No one has been arrested, and no one, to this day, knows for sure who did it. This is the true story of the greatest art heist in modern history, and the mystery that still haunts Boston. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum is not a typical gallery. It was designed by its namesake, a wealthy Boston art collector, Isabella Stewart Gardner, in the early 1900s. Gardner was bold, eccentric, and obsessed with art. She collected masterpieces across Europe and built the museum to resemble a Venetian palace. The artworks were arranged exactly the way she wanted, and when she died, her will made it clear: nothing in the galleries was to be changed. Ever. And that's important, because when the thieves took the paintings, the museum couldn't replace them. The empty frames were left behind. They're still there, like scars, waiting for the paintings to come home. In the early morning hours of March 18, 1990, the night after St. Patrick's Day, two men dressed as Boston police officers approached the museum's side entrance. It was 1:24 a.m. Inside were two night security guards, Rick Abath, 23 years old, and Randy Heston, 25 years old. The men claimed they were responding to a disturbance. Despite protocol, the guards let them in. Within minutes, both were overpowered, handcuffed, duct-taped, and locked in the basement. One of the fake officers reportedly said,
"Gentlemen, this is a robbery."
The intruders spent 81 minutes inside the museum. That's longer than most visitors stay during open hours. They stole Rembrandt's Storm on the Sea of Galilee, his only known seascape, Vermeer's The Concert, one of only 34 Vermeers known to exist, works by Manet and Degas, a Chinese bronze beaker, and a small Napoleonic eagle finial. They avoided security sensors, knew exactly where to go. Then they disappeared into the night. The FBI was called in immediately, and they quickly realized this wasn't a random smash and grab. It was targeted, it was deliberate, and it likely involved inside knowledge. But there were no fingerprints, no usable surveillance footage, and the museum's outdated security system offered few clues. Over the years, the investigation would grow into one of the largest art crime cases in U.S. history. But even with hundreds of leads and informants, not one of the 13 stolen pieces has ever been recovered. Let's walk through the main suspects and theories, one by one. First, Rick Abath, the night guard who let the thieves in, quickly came under suspicion. He opened the museum's side door 20 minutes before the robbers arrived, something he claimed was routine. He also broke protocol by letting them in without calling a supervisor, and his personal history included drug use and connections to fringe communities. But the FBI never charged him with anything, and they later stated publicly,
"We don't believe the guards were involved."
Still, the timing of that door opening remains suspicious. Next, the mob connection. Bobby Donati and the Merlino crew. In the mid-1990s, the investigation shifted toward Boston's criminal underworld. The leading theory: the robbery was orchestrated by local mafia members, possibly connected to the Merlino crew, an offshoot of the Patriarca crime family. The name that came up most often: Bobby Donati, a known art thief, allegedly involved in violent hits, had visited the museum weeks before the heist. Some believe Donati stole the paintings to use as leverage, to help free a fellow mobster from prison. But Donati never got the chance. In 1991, he was murdered, stabbed multiple times and dumped in the trunk of a Cadillac. Whatever secrets he had about the heist, he took them to his grave. Another mob figure, Carmine Romano, was tied to organized crime in New York and had a history of moving stolen goods. He was known to use warehouses to hide illegal items, including art. Some believe the Gardner paintings were temporarily stored under Romano's protection and then sold or traded on the black market. No hard evidence ever connected him to the case, but the theory remains active. Then there's the private collector theory. One of the most mysterious theories suggests that the paintings were stolen on commission for a private, ultra-wealthy collector, a Dr. No figure, obsessive, powerful, anonymous. It sounds far-fetched, but it's not unheard of. There are cases in Europe where stolen art ended up in secret vaults, only rediscovered decades later after the owner's death. Still, many experts doubt this theory. Why? Because stolen masterpieces are incredibly hard to hide and impossible to sell. They draw attention and risk. The most devastating theory is also the simplest. The paintings were damaged or destroyed, maybe by fire, mold, or flooding in a basement, or panicked criminals who didn't know how to preserve them. An FBI agent once admitted,
There's a very real possibility the paintings no longer exist.
"That's the darkest possibility of all." The case remains open. The Gardner Museum is still offering a $10 million reward for information leading to the recovery of the artworks. In 2013, the FBI announced they had identified the two individuals responsible, but refused to name them, stating both were likely deceased. No charges have ever been filed, and not one single piece has been recovered. Today, if you visit the museum, you'll find those same 13 empty frames still hanging. They are legally preserved exactly where the stolen paintings once were, in accordance with Isabella's will. They are more than just placeholders. They are reminders of what was lost and of the mystery that still hangs in the air. This wasn't just a crime. It was an erasure of history, of beauty, of culture. The paintings are gone, the thieves are gone, and the trail is cold. But someone, somewhere, knows what happened that night. And until the day the art is returned, or confirmed destroyed, the Isabella Stewart Gardner heist remains the greatest unsolved art crime in modern history.